Please be seated. The court is now back in session. I hand over the floor to the prosecution to continue his line of questioning. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Sakim Lamut, we might now move on to your work in Phnom Penh when you returned to the city from the second cooperative. Do you recall the month and year when you returned to Phnom Penh?
Response. I cannot recall the month, but what I can recall was that it was sometime in early 1976. So it was after the harvest season, and following the harvest, I was called back to Phnom Penh.
Thank you. Now, upon your return to Phnom Penh, you said to us that you stayed near the Industry of Committee compound, and you met On, who was the chairman of the Industry Committee. And you also said to us that you knew at the time that Dawn was chairman of Commerce, and lastly that Vaughan Vet was, I believe you said, in charge of the economy. Am I summarising your evidence this morning correctly?
Response. To my knowledge, Vaughan Vet was not the chairman of Commerce, but he oversaw both commerce and industry affairs. And in terms of economies, economy encompassed the commerce and industry.
Thank you very much for being so specific. Now, because we are discussing a structure which involves a number of committees and upper bodies and subordinate bodies, I want to see if we can have your assistance with identifying a few people and their roles from documents that you've been shown previously. Mr. President, with your permission, I'd like to show the witness document IS 13.2, which is also admitted as E3/182. This is a minute of a meeting of the Standing Committee dated the 9th of October 1975.
The President. Yes, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. We do have a hard copy if a court officer could assist us. These are fairly old documents.
The President. Court officer is instructed to take the document from the prosecution and present it to the witness.
Now, Mr. Sakim Lamut, we we're not going to deal with this document in any great detail. I just wanted to see if you could assist us with some of the names that appear on the first page. That's correct, where there is a delegation of authorities, or rather work, to a number of people. Do you recognise under number 3, Comrade Van? Do you recognise that person? It states he's in charge of foreign affairs work, both party and state.
Response. I have to make it clear from an outset that I had never seen this document, and I was not involved in the meeting of the standing committee. And number 3, the person in number 3, Comrade Van, foreign affairs work, both party and the state. Of course, I do see this name on this paper, but what your question really is?
Just who that person is. And if you're not sure, just say you're not sure.
Response, I'm not sure.
Under number 4, we have Comrade Hem. Would that be the same Hem that you were discussing earlier? He's described here as being responsible for the front and the royal government and commerce for accounting and pricing.
The President. Witness, please hold on. The International Defense Council for Nuon Chea, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I object to this question. The witness has indicated that he's never seen this document before, and the prosecutor is now simply trying to make the witness speculate as to whether one person that's mentioned in the document is another person that he has spoken about previously. If the witness does not know this document, he cannot in that way speculate. And further to your earlier rulings, I also think that there was a question that these documents had to be removed. I know these rules change almost by the week, but I would like to have your opinion on that matter. Regardless of that second issue, I think this specific question should not be allowed. Thank you.
Mr. President, just...
The President. The National Defense Council for Q Sampon, you may proceed. Council. Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to add to my esteemed colleague. The witness did not say that Brother Ham was responsible for the front and the royal government. He never stated so. So this was the question put by the prosecution, and the prosecution read it out. It was a leading question. Shall I talk? The President, thank you. Prosecution, do you have any response to the objections?
Yes, Your Honours. First of all, our interpretation of the Chamber's rulings is that if there is a reasonable nexus between the witness and the contents of the document, then it's proper to ask him about the document. But even more specifically, returning to the objection of my friend Counsel for Nuon Chea, this document has been shown to the witness. He has seen it before, and it is referred to in his first record of interview with the co-investigating judges. So as a matter of form, he has, in fact, seen the document. Secondly, returning to the objection by my friend Counsel for Q Sampang, We're not suggesting anything to the witness. I'm simply asking him, and if you recall my prior assisting the witness, I said if he's not sure, I asked him to say that he wasn't sure. What we're trying to do is simply see if people that are mentioned in this document may be people that the witness recognises. If he doesn't, we will move on.
The President. Witness, please look at the document again and see if you have seen this document before, particularly when you were interviewed by the Office of Co-Investigating Judges. Response. Mr. President, when I was interviewed by the Office of Co-Investigating Judges, I was not presented with this document. In terms of the internal work arrangement of the front, I did not know, and I only saw this document this morning. The President, the objections by the two defense teams is sustained. The court officer is now instructed to remove the document from the witness. And assistant, please withdraw the document from the computer screens.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do note for the record that at question and answer 36 of his interview, the witness discussed this document with the co-investigating judges. But we will respect your ruling and move on. Mrs. Hakim Lamut, we might move on to another document that you have been shown. Mr. President, with your permission, this is E3/235. Now, it was shown to the witness in his second interview, and at that point, it was given the number D279/7.1. So I just want to clarify that in advance of any objections. It's another minute or summary of decisions of the Standing Committee, and it lists a number of committees which the witness has been describing. With your permission, I'd like to show the witness this document.
The President. The Chamber grants leave for the prosecution to present the document in hard copy first to the witness and check if the witness has seen this document before.
I'm sorry, I don't think we heard a response.
Respond. I have never seen this document before.
Mr. President, if I may just clarify, I'm not entirely surprised that the witness doesn't recall. He was showing 26 documents over a course of 2 days. But the document is referred to in D279/7.1, rather D279/7, D279/7, which is his OCRJ interview. I don't propose to lead the witness in any inappropriate manner, but the document has been seen by him, and it actually deals with matters that he's been discussing, and I think it's appropriate to simply ask him if he's able to assist us further. And in fact, the document does bear the witness's signature in that version that was filed on the case file.
The President, does this document being put before the witness carries the signature of the witness when it was presented to him by the Office of Co-Investigating Judges?
Yes, Mr. President. If you wish, we can retrieve that from the case file. We have possibly another printout. Often these documents have more than one number, but if you wish, we can find that in very quickly. But by as a matter of
The President, court officer is now instructed to remove this document from the witness because the witness has made it expressly clear that he has never read this document before.
Thank you, Mr. President. Do you know whether Q Sampong alias Hem held any positions or any functions within the Commerce or Economy Committees?
Response. I do not have any documentary evidence to confirm it, but I did see some document presented to me by the Office of Co-Investigating Judges concerning Brother Ham, because in those documents I learned that certain documents were sent with the attention to Brother Ham and Brother Wern. I knew that Brother Ham must have had something to do with economy affair or commerce affair, but as for his precise role, I did not know, because I noted that certain documents were addressed to both Brother Ham and Brother Wern.
Just to clarify this issue a little bit further, Mr. President, I'd like to show the witness his OCRJ statement, D279/6, D279/6, where the witness has also dealt with this same topic.
The President, I would like to hand over to Judge Silva-Cartwright to proceed.
Thank you, President. It's become apparent that there may have been some misunderstandings as the result of translation over the status of at least two documents referred to by the prosecutors. I have notes that they were E3/235 and D279/6, but I may not have got it done accurately. The misunderstanding which gave rise to the President's ruling was whether those documents had in fact been put to the witness during the investigation, and I think that the prosecutor, it would be helpful if you would make it clear exactly the status of those documents, and then the Chamber refers to its earlier ruling on the use of documents which might not have been seen ever by a witness previously. And in that ruling, the Chamber nonetheless ruled that these documents may be used as the basis for questioning should this be relevant to the proceedings. So, Prosecutor, could you just clarify very simply for us what the situation is? Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Cartwright. And in the brief pause that we had, we've been able to retrieve the actual hard copies that were shown to the witness. The first document, which was a October 1975 minute of the Standing Committee, is D279/6.1, and it is rather confusing because all of these documents have several numbers. Now that version, D279/6.1, bears the witness's signature on the first page, as well as a note by the investigator indicating that this is the document that was being discussed. And moving on to the second document that I was intending to show, this was D279/7.1, and again that document on the front page has both the signature of the witness and of the OCIJ investigator. I do apologise if I was using E3 numbers. We're trying to give the current document number, but obviously that number was created subsequently, whereas these two D numbers, if you look up those copies, you will see that, and I have them now if the Chamber wishes to examine them, that the witness has signed these documents.
The President, Counsel for Kilson-Pond, you may now proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Forgive me for interrupting, but I believe that my following comments are of interest to all parties involved. I wish to draw your attention to what has been observed by a member of my team to the Khmer channel. It appears that one of the answers of the witness has not been translated entirely in French and English, particularly when he mentioned the documents. He stated, or rather the original Khmer would have revealed that certain documents were presented to him and that only particular segments of those documents were presented to him. I believe that for the interest of clarity during these proceedings, the prosecutor could perhaps draw his attention to that. Once again, the entirety of the witness's answer in Khmer has not been translated in its entirety in the other two working languages of this court. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Mr. President, if I may, for 1 second. The witness, however, has also indicated that he had no prior knowledge, and then upon being shown documents by the investigators, he learned certain things for the first time. In a sense, inadvertently, the investigators created a memory to the witness. Now, the questions ought to be very precise, what he knew at the time. Frankly, I think it is not necessary to show the documents. They can go down the list of the names, but it is obvious that we cannot be asking the gentleman what he learned subsequent to being shown documents by the investigators. We're here to get the facts from his memory as he knew them at the time, not facts that were created in his memory subsequent as a result of the investigation. Thank you.
Mr. President, I do believe my learned friends are trying to tie our hands here. The witness did say earlier that he learned information from the documents he was shown, but that inference simply does not flow from his statement. The witness may be forgetting or confusing his responses, but this is one of the reasons that we need to discuss these matters and show the witness his prior statements. For a witness to simply say, I never saw a document, when we have evidence otherwise, or for him to claim that he only learned things from documents when we will show through other evidence that otherwise may well be the case. We cannot simply rest with whatever the witness tells us. We need to be able to test reasonably the witness's recollection and frankly, his credibility, if necessary.
The President, Mr. Co-Prosecutor, you may proceed with your questions to the witness.
Thank you, Your Honour. Mr. Witness, if we could, just as a refresher, we've had a break. Could you recall for us what you knew as to Khieu Samphan alias Hem's role, if any, in relation to commerce and the economy matters?
Response. First of all, allow me to specify on a few things concerning the documents given to me by the investigating judges. Sometimes the whole documents were presented to me, but at some point only portion of the annotations were presented to me. And at that time, I was at the very lower level. I was not engaged in the standing committee to know the affairs of such things. So I sometimes have to ask myself, because I don't understand why should I know about this, because the meetings were held among the standing committee members and I was at the very lower level, and it was too low to understand what the meetings could have been about. So if you would like to challenge me on this, I would like to see the writing in which my signature could have appeared.
Thank you, Mr. Sakim Lamut. All we need from you is your knowledge as it was at the time, and if and where you have learnt fact subsequently, then please indicate so. And we'll just return to some of these documents. Now, I want to say to you so that we're clear, we're not alleging that you were a senior cadre. That is not our view, that you were a very high-ranking cadre. We simply look at some of the documents that we will be discussing and wish to obtain your assistance where we think you may have knowledge of the documents. And could I restate my question then? What did you know of Khieu Samphan alias Hem role, if any, in relation to matters of commerce, industry and economy?
Response. I read the documents given to me by the co-investigating judges concerning the annotations, for example, by Van Rut, Von Wade, or Ham. So I believe that based on that, they could have been engaged in the economy section, and I could not elaborate further than that.
Thank you. And did you base those conclusions on your experience when working in Phnom Penh from 76 to 79, as well as the documents you were being shown?
Response. I think I refer to the documents presented to me more than my actual experience back then, because I did not have have meetings with Von Wade or these people, and that upon having seen the documents presented to me, I could see the communication channel between Van Rut and other people involved.
Thank you. Now, just by way of elucidating a little bit further your role and what you may have known back in 1976, Mr. President, I'd like to return now to D279/7.1. This is the document I mentioned earlier. It was discussed with the witness in his second interview. And for reasons that will become apparent, I believe that the witness will be able to assist us with just one or two sections of this document. Do I have permission to show it to the witness, Your Honour? D279/7.1. I should say it's a summary of decisions of the Standing Committee of the 19th to the 21st April 1976.
The President, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honour. If the court officer could show this document to the witness. And Mr. President, it may also be convenient if we show this on the screen so that everyone else can see what the sections that I'm asking the witness about. So with your permission, we would like to show this on the screen.
The President, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now, Mr. Sakyam Lamut, this document states at number 1, and I will read it for those who are unable to read the Khmer language, preparations to organise various committees surrounding Office 870. Now, you've already said to us that you knew Van Rith, who is listed here as the highest-ranking member of the Commerce Committee. You've also indicated to us that you knew Comrade Krin, who is listed at number 6 as the Secretary of the Port Committee. And you also have referred to Comrade An, who was and is identified here as, in the same way you've described him, Secretary of the Industry Committee. What I would like to do is move from that section a little bit further down in the document, which is a section that starts with the Roman numeral 4, and it starts with the words on commerce and industry. This should be ERN in Khmer, ERN 000019146. And that should be on the screen shortly. Now, under Roman numeral 4, and I will read it. I will read it in English. It will be on the screen, Mr. Sakyam Lamut. And also, it is in front of you. We're looking at a section that starts with Roman numeral number 4. On commerce and industry, number 1 starts with regarding the Korean commercial delegation, and we will skip that section just for the moment. Number 2, regarding the Chinese commercial delegation, and that then starts over the page on 000019147. And I will just read this sentence out for the benefit of those who may not be able to read Khmer. Organise a delegation to receive and negotiate Comrade Dawn, Comrade Krin, Comrade Sai, Comrade Chuan, Comrade Hock, one person from Foreign Affairs, and Comrade Lamut. Do you see that, Mr. Witness? If you could just repeat your answer. Do you see that section?
Response. I see that perhaps there is a translation problem, because here we say a person from the Foreign Affairs, then Lamut. But let me explain. I saw this document and I confirmed individual persons, including Krin and other, and I also made it clear at that time that I had never seen the document before. I only came to learn about the document when I was presented to me only, and I was asked whether I recognized these people, and I confirmed, but I did not engage in the meeting. During the investigation phase and the interviews, there were a lot of documents being presented to me. Some documents were presented to me in full, some were not given to me. So when it comes to the issues concerning the Standing Committee, I'm afraid I don't know much about this. I was asked about these individuals named Krin, Rit, and An, and I had already confirmed that on this. And this document somehow was not presented to me at that time, because it reads that a person from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and my name appeared. I never worked at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I remember that on one occasion there were visitors who spoke Korean, and no one could be able to provide the rendition, so I was needed to assist. I was asked from the bank. I could speak French very well, so whenever delegation, a French delegation was in the country and interpreters needed, I would be picked from the bank to assist.
Thank you very much. My question wasn't so much whether you recall seeing that particular passage, and we do note your evidence that you didn't attend these meetings, and we accept that. I just am recalling that earlier you said to us, I believe, that you participated in meetings with foreign Chinese delegations, I think you said. And it appears to me that this particular passage might be relevant. Were you informed then, in 1976, that you had been appointed by the Standing Committee, or were you otherwise told that you were to attend these meetings and assist?
Response. I remember having joined in the meeting where Chinese delegation also attended, but not as the capacity as the member of the Standing Committee, but in the meeting where member of the Commercial Committee attended, and I was there as a person who understood banking affairs, and I do not know whether minutes of the meeting were taken or the content of such minutes. So here, in this piece of paper, it is the decision or the minutes of the meeting of the Standing Committee, and I think when delegations met, foreign delegations met, I could not see whether this has something to do with the Standing Committee, because I have no idea on this. I know no other persons other than Wan Rut and On, and I know that Krun was in charge of the port, and that's all.
Thank you. Apart from attending meetings with Chinese delegations, did you attend meetings with any other delegations from any other countries?
Response. Yes, I did, in my capacity as an interpreter. For example, when people were coming from the East Europe countries, they spoke French. So I was there as an interpreter. I was joined by another person who also spoke French from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And as an interpreter, I couldn't do that alone because it was too much for one interpreter to do that in the meeting. So we normally had two people to interpret during the meeting. I worked with my co-interpreter, whom I don't remember his real name.
Thank you. Could you recall for us which countries, apart from China, you attended meetings with? Just briefly, which countries, apart from China?
Response. There were people from Yugoslavia and another country in the East Europe, Romania, I guess. So Yugoslavia, Romania, and these people from these countries spoke French.
Thank you. Mr. President, at this point I'd like to show the witness a few documents that relate to these meetings. Would you like me to continue now? I'm just looking at the time. I'm happy to continue if you prefer for us to deal with these now.
The President, since it is now appropriate time for the lunch adjournment, the Chamber will adjourn until 1:30 p.m. Court officer is now instructed to assist the witness during this lunch break and also have them return to the courtroom by 1:30 p.m. Counsel for Mr. Nunchia, you may now proceed.
Mr. President, Nunchia would like to attend this afternoon's hearings from his holding cell with your permission, and we have the waiver here, and we can fight with you straight away.
The President. Thank you, Counsel. The Chamber has noted the request from Nunchia through his counsel. He asked that he be excused from the courtroom. He has waived his right to be present in the courtroom and has asked that he be allowed to observe the proceedings from downstairs, from his holding cell. Counsel indicated that his waiver has already been prepared and signed by Mr. Nunchia. The Chamber notes this very well and therefore grants such a request. Mr. Nunchia is now allowed to observe the proceedings from his holding cell through the audio-visual link for the remainder of the day. Counsels for Nunchia are now instructed to produce this waiver signed or given thumbprint by Mr. Nunchia. AV booth officials are now instructed to ensure that the AV or audio-visual equipment are linked to the holding cell so that Mr. Nunchia can observe the proceedings from there. Security personnel are now instructed to bring Mr. Nunchia and Kyusampon to their holding cells and have Mr. Kyusampon returned alone to the courtroom in the afternoon session when we next resume the sessions by 1:30 p.m. The court is adjourned.
សូមជឿនក្រោកឈរ